In the EDC world, there is no shortage when it comes to available flashlights. Some are cheap, some are expensive, some are very expensive. Today, we're going to be talking about one that was sent to me by Rovyvon. This is the Rovyvon E8 Pro, and it does more than just light up your room. It actually does quite a lot more, and today we're going to talk about it. Shout out to Sam from Rovyvon for making this possible and for sending this my way to check out. I think this one's pretty cool. Let's check out the Rovyvon E8 Pro. Alrighty, check it out, guys. This is the Rovyvon E8 Pro. Now, some of you might know that I already reviewed the E3 Pro, and they kind of look a little similar, don't they? The packaging, very standard for Rovyvon. You get this little cutout right here. You pop this up. Below, you'll get a little baggie with some accessories in it, such as keychain rings, as well as a pocket clip. Now, after my experience with the E3 Pro, I can tell you that I actually prefer to carry this in my fifth pocket without the key ring and also without the pocket clip. For me, that's just the way that I prefer to carry it. They feel better in the hands that way, and so that's actually how I'm going to suggest carrying it on this one. You do have a hole you could attach a key ring or a lanyard, whatever your style is, or you could just go, commando like me, because yeah, fifth pocket carry is actually the way that I suggest going on this one. This one is a little bit different. It looks the same, but it's different. But here's the thing. It's more than just a clear variant. For example, you'll notice that unlike the E3 Pro, this one has two buttons. Why? Well, because this one also allows for some UV action. That's right. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Other similarities shared with the E3 Pro is that just like with this one, you can, of course, run it off of a AAA battery. And maybe this is a good time to get into some specs before we talk about the rest of it. First and foremost, this is a 330 milliamp hour battery. It boasts IP6 water resistance. It is USB-C rechargeable, although you can also power it off of an auxiliary power source such as a AAA battery. That AAA battery, I do want to mention, is not something that is required. You can, of course, run it just solely off of the USB-C. But do that with it what you will. The head of the flashlight is featuring two LED lights. They call this the angel eyes, and the casing of the head is made out of 7075 anodized aluminum, which is scratch resistant. Now, even though I haven't had this one for very long, I have had this one for a bit longer. And what I can tell you is that it's jostled around in my pockets with my knives, with coins and stuff. And so when they say that it's scratch resistant, they mean it. I have not gotten a scratch on it, and I have not scratched other things in my pocket with it. So yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. I really like this level of aluminum. I think that more knives should actually use this than they currently do. I prefer this on some of my budget knives more than G10. So this one is largely very similar, but I did mention that it was, of course, different. First difference is going to be that depending upon whether you get this in a warm white or in a cool white, it's going to make a difference for the overall lumen output. This one, being the warm white version, is going to have a max output of 500 lumens, whereas if you go with the cool white, it has a max output of 700 lumens. Also, depending upon which version you get, will also make a difference as far as what UV combination you have. This can do a warm white UV, or it can also do a blue UV, which is really freaking cool. Now, I did mention that I was going to go over more differences. That is the main difference. That and the fact that this body is actually made out of a clear polycarbonate, and that's actually for this UV setup right here. Now, let's go over the directions real quick. From a dead off, it is locked. The first time you get this out of the box, it is locked. To unlock it, you just press this button 4 times. A single click from off will give you moonlight. A double click will go straight into the high beam. And then, of course, you can click to cycle from there. That's low, medium, high. And for a light that hangs out in your pocket, for a light that hangs out in something like an EDC pouch, which is actually one of the ways that I prefer to carry this, this light's going to do great. You just pop this in your 5th pocket, leave it locked so it doesn't randomly turn on in your pocket. And trust me, you'll know if you have this turned on in your pocket. Ask me how I know. I know because it feels like you're about to burn a hole through your pocket with the power of the sun. You only make that mistake once. After that, you lock it when it goes in your pocket. If you triple click, you can, of course, put it into strobe light version, which honestly, most people aren't really going to use that. I mean, some people claim that it's for self-defense. I would actually say that the best use case scenario for that is when you're trying to get attention in an emergency situation. So there you have it. From a dead off, click once, it'll go into moonlight mode. This is great for finding like keys in the crevices of your car. If you double click, it'll go directly into regular mode, into high, low, medium, high. Press and hold, and it will turn it off. Now, in the regular off position, if you don't have it locked, you can momentarily turn it off just by pressing and holding. And then when you release it, it'll turn back off again. So that's great. You know, if you just need to do some quick spotlighting, you can do so purely by doing a momentary press after it is unlocked. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about how this UV light operates. And the second button does in fact operate it, but I do want to make one thing clear. If you're low on batteries and you're not running that second AAA battery and this regular LiPo battery isn't fully charged up, it won't do the blue UV light. It'll just do the warm white UV. So for example, to get just the low setting of the warm white, you just press this button once and you'll see that it lights up there, not super bright. If you wanted to make it brighter and make this more of a side lamp for scanning things, you could do that just by pressing the button again to cycle to the next highest level. And as you can see there, that is much, much brighter. Now, I'm not sure why you would use that instead of the regular angel eyes, but you do have that option. Now, if you want to go to the UV light that I think is actually pretty dang cool and also very useful, you get there by double clicking this second button. And here you can see that it's going to go ahead and put out that blue UV light, which is going to be really great for scanning things. And this is where this is really cool. You can actually use this to verify the legitimacy of bills. Yeah, you heard that correctly. If you have a $100 bill in front of you and you want to make sure that it's actually a real $100 bill, you can scan it and it will highlight and light up that strip on the $100 bill for accuracy. But you could also potentially use this to do things like scan for fingerprints if you had the right situations. That's pretty dang cool. Being able to use a fluorescent light on your regular flashlight, your EDC flashlight, that could come in handy. And you know, the thing about flashlights is the same thing about knives. You don't carry them because you expect to be using it all the time. You carry it for the situations that you wouldn't normally be prepared for. Having something like this in one of those situations is a godsend. And if you ever run into a situation where you end up needing a flashlight and you actually have it on you, that is extremely satisfying. And it just feels really awesome to be prepared for those moments. Does that mean that you'll be carrying this a whole lot without using it? Sure. But the first time the light goes out in your garage and you actually have this on you, the better off you'll be because you'll actually be able to find your way to the door. Now, if you don't care about that fluorescent light, that's totally fine. You can get the regular E3 Pro with the full 7075 aluminum casing, and this works great. I absolutely love this. Again, both of these are going to be great as a 5th pocket carry. You can, of course, use them in keychain mode or with a lanyard, or you could put a clip on it, whatever your speed is. The one thing that I really wish that both of these had was a magnetic clip or a magnetic tail cap, which some Rovyvon lights do have, but these do not. Even if they were to find a way to put a magnet on the back, that would be next level for these and make these a real contender for EDC flashlights. Be that as it may, let me know in the comment section down below. Would you pick up one of these? Would you pick up both of these? Do you already have one of these? I think that these are pretty cool. And if you want to see another video on flashlights or knives or other EDC items, make sure you click on the video that pops up next.